cities. So the story starts here. Two kids, Jaspal and Harpreet, they are playing cricket in front of their house. And they saw certain people. They are admiring dilapidated, that means, kshat vikshat, old building. They are admiring it. They are saying that the architecture, the way it is made, the nakashi, wood carving, all these things are so beautiful. Some people are saying that let us write to our minister and we'll ask him to repair and preserve this building, old building, which has no, concern for these kids. So these two kids were quite confused, and they were interested to know that why this run-down house, old building, why people are so interested in this building. We are going to see about these old buildings. The story of Harappa. Harappa is a complete civilization, Indus Valley civilization. Say if you are living in a community, there will be a gate, people will be laying here, everybody will know where to park their car, where to put the garbage. That is, people are living planned in a civil manner, in a civilized manner. That is why we call it as civilization. Harappa civilization. All the civilization which we know in the world, Harappa has its own place. What happened 150 years back ago? I'm taking you 150 years back. So there was a railway work going on, railway line in Punjab. So the engineers and all those people working with them, when they started, working for this, they saw some bricks. They found these bricks, and they wanted to make this line. So they saw that this brick is very good, and we can just use it. So thousands of brick from these walls that they didn't know from where it is coming, they just took and they did their work. Nobody knew. I'm now taking to you 80 years back. The archaeologists, Puratatvavid, they found these khandhars, these old remains, these bricks, these walls, and they were surprised, astonished to know that the people who took all these bricks, this is a civilization. This is an oldest cities in the Indian subcontinent. So the first city which the archaeologists found, they discovered, was the site was called as Harappa. So the first city was Harappa. It was named as Harappa. That is why all the other cities which were discovered later, Harappa civilization is not one place. It is different cities, spread to different cities. It were discovered far later, So this all are included in Harappan civilization, Indus Valley civilization, Sindhu Ghati ki Sabhyata. We have Mohenjo-daro. There is a movie made. The hero was Hrithik Roshan. Ashutosh Gwarikar directed it. So Mohenjo-daro was a movie properly. So we are only not talking about Harappa. We are not talking about Mohenjo-daro. We are talking about all the cities here. And what was the age of these cities? It was made 4,700 years ago. Can you imagine the houses, the way people were living? If you go to the rural area today, these people were living better than today. That is why it is a civilization. So all the cities we are going to talk about, you need to keep all these in mind. So let me show you the places so that you remember them. Remember them. Because we started with Harappa. Here Harappa. Most of these cities are in Pakistan. Pakistan is our say younger brother. And Harappa, we have Mohenjo-daro. Lothal, Kalibanga, Kalibanga. There are other, or whatever you see here, these are all the cities of subcontinent. Rakhigadi, Ghanveriwala, Satkokao, Chanudaro, Dholavira, Surkotala. All these you need to remember because we are going to emphasize them again and again. So as I was saying, most of the cities were divided into either 2 or more farms. So archaeologists name these parts. What happened? There was 2 parts. Just let us assume there were 2 parts. East part, west part. This is north, south, east, west. North, south, east, west. So there were 2 parts, say. The eastern part was larger. The area and people were larger. But it was located, made at lower height. The bigger part was made at lower part, nichle ilake mein. But the west part, where the population and the people were less, it was made at a higher height. It was smaller, but it was at higher height. West part means the west part, the smaller area, but at the height. The archaeologists call it as citadel. And the lower part with higher population, higher area were called as lower town. Okay? Citadel, upper town. Lower town, the other one. So all these towns, all these areas, lower, upper, they were having a wall with bricks, baked bricks, ईंटों से बनी थी, baked bricks. Today we know bhatta, kiln, where with the mitti, with the soil we make bricks. So at this time we were having brick, and these bricks were made 4,700 years ago. Thousands years ago, and still it is there. You need to praise these people. Praise them. They were made in an interlocking pattern, and that is why these walls, these bricks are still strong. You are getting it. So this citadel, Nagargraha, citadel, upper part, there were big cities. There were big buildings, sorry. So the area was smaller, but big buildings were there. That means big people were living there. Wealthy people, the rulers were living here. Shasak, Raja, Emperor, King may be living here. I'll give an example of Mohenjo-daro. In Mohenjo-daro, there was a special tank. Water tank was discovered. And the archaeologists called it as the Great Bath, Mahan Snanagar, Great Bath. And this area, these kind of Snanagar, the bricks were there. It was made of bricks and it was being plastered. If you see your house, you will not see brick. There will be plaster. And because the water is being put here, so they used natural char, this damar. Okay. So 4,000 years back, they were using damar. They were using what we use right now on the road. So there was a technique they employed. There were steps to go inside, to go outside, to leave. So there were 2 sides. And if you see on the right hand side, there were proper room being made. These shadows are of these rooms only. Proper rooms were being made. And this water was not always there. The water was filled only when some big people, some important people, they used to come here to take the bath. And after that, this water was emptied. I'll take you to 2 more places, Kalibanga and Lothal. Lothal will come again. Kalibanga, Lothal. We found fire altars, Agni Kund, fire altars. like this, a rounded, say, brick made shaped, and in this some woods are placed, some sacrifices, yagya. The fire altars were found. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Lothal, all these have storehouses, store bhandar graha. Storehouses were being made. People are putting things here to store for later usage. Okay. For example, Food Corporation of India, they have all the rice, wheat, barley, etc. They store it. Now, the important thing here for Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization is the houses were either made of one story or made up of two story, one story, two story. Along with that, they have a courtyard. They have an area, proper area, and the area to take bath is separate. Right now we have 3 BHK, 2 BHK, our room, and then the bathroom. It's not like that. The area was separate outside the house. Along with this, there were houses being found where we found wells, kuwe. And these, there was a proper well-planned drainage system. So there is a main, these were drains, small drains, and these main drains, and all these drains were covered. Even if you go to today's rural area, you not found this kind of planning, this kind of covered drains today. So they were covered, and on this, the main hole, the inspection holes were there, because if you need to clean them, you need to have something to go inside. So it was their inspection holes in order to clean them. The naliyan were not open, khole nahi the. They were all closed. So this was the drains were at an angle like this, so the water can flow to the desired area or region or to the desired drain. So it was properly planned, scientifically made. See, 4,700 years ago, it was happening. So still we are struggling with the drainage system of our country. This is the planning they have made. These are the bricks, well plastered bricks. Harappan cities, we see the plasters. Now, what about the people? How was the zindagi? How was the life? So, Mohenjo-daro, if you have seen that movie, as I said, it was around 5 years back it came. So, if you see, it was all civilization being shown. It was a happening area, busy area, whatever name of cities I took. And the planning was so good. That means the construction was so good for the buildings. The rulers, because the Garib people will not be making it, poor people. Rulers were making special buildings, they were constructing it. And for that, they used to send people to different areas, neighboring countries, neighboring lands. So they used to bring the metals, dhatu, precious stone, important stones, whatever they wanted. They send people and they bring it. So these rulers, they were spending a lot of money to construct the buildings. Along with this, gold, silver, sona, chandi, beautiful beads. Beads means moti, mala, beads. All were there. They were having it with them. Scribes. Scribes means the people who, you have seen the typist or writer. All these were called as scribes. In Hindi, it is called as lipik. So if you go to a court, you'll see a typist there. So lipik. So there were people who are writing, and they were writing on everything. Like the seals, they were writing on the seal, mohar. They were writing on different other materials because they were writing. So they could write on anything. Scribes were there. And there were craftspersons, men, women, craftsperson, shilpkar, craftsperson. So they were vastukar, shilpkar, craftsperson. So they were making it at house, or they are making it somewhere else, like a sculpture. So people were traveling to different lands, distant lands, and we have found toys, terracotta toys, which people, especially the children, were playing it. So let me take you to the pictures again. This picture, the topmost, is the street in Mohenjo-daro, one of the cities of Harappan civilization. They were raised. This is the well. This is the well. And here you see the seal. Seal. I told you about the scribes. You see the animal, and there is a different, maybe their language, they were writing something. And these are the terracotta toys. The kids were playing with this terracotta toys. Now, what were the crafts in the city? Because everyone has their own skill, right? So people used to dance, people used to make, people used to sing, whatever they do, everything was happening here. In Harappan cities, all the cities which I listed out, archaeologists have found people were doing different work. So they found stone, shell, metal. In metal they found copper, bronze, gold, silver. The copper and bronze were used to make tools, weapons, ornaments, vessels. So they were making all these things with copper and bronze. Tools, weapon, ornament, vessels. With gold and silver, they were making ornaments and vessels. Ornaments and vessels with gold and silver. Okay, means the utensils, etc. You see here, this is a stone weight. So beautiful. And at that time, the paperweight. Today we use mobile for everything, right? So this is stone weight. These are the beads. And these beads, they're made out of carnelian red stone, specially cut, shaped, polished. And here we have these stone blades like we use the knife and blades. You see here, there was a statue and it's wearing an embroidered cloth. And you see the way he is wearing the cloth, embroidered cloth. Along with this, he has a proper beard being made. So that was made those many years ago. And apart from this, we have found certain pots also, and some toys also. So various things have been found. That is why we know all this. So these are the toys, and so we have the pots with beautiful black design being made. One more thing we have taken in the earlier discussion, which is Mehergarh. 7,000 years back, Mehergarh, the cotton were used to make the cloth. There was a silver vase being found out. On this, we have a cloth being attached, and that cloth is cotton cloth. So the spindles have been discovered. That is, the thread being made is wound around this spindle. These are also found. That gives evidence at that time the cloth were there. And we have terracotta faience. So what is this faience? This stone and shell you get normally, right? This faience was specially made. It was being made by the quartz, powder quartz, balu, wraith, and the gum, gond were mixed, and then they were properly glazed, shined, glassy surface. That is why you see here that the color is blue or sea green. These faience were used multi-purpose for beads, bangles, chudiyan, earrings, kan ki baliyan, tiny vessels. So they were used for plenty of work, and these also have been discovered as evidence of that particular era. And there were different specialists. Everyone, they were specialists because a specialist is who is trained to do certain special kind of work. For example, if you want to cut stone, you will not be able to do it. I will not be able to do it. If you want to polish the beads, carving the seals, tappa, mohar, who is going to do this? There were people who were specialists. They were actually doing it. So specialists were there at that time. Okay. Now I'll tell you about the raw material. Raw material is, if you want to make a vegetable, you have to go to the market, bring the say spinach. So that spinach is raw material. So the farmers and herders, krishak and pashupalak, farmers and herders were giving the raw material. For example, cotton. Farmers were making it. Farmers were growing it, which were used to make cloth. Along with this, the Harappans were bringing copper, tin, gold, silver, certain precious stones from different distant places, which are now different countries now, right now. So they were bringing it. So from where they were bringing it, let me show you. So the copper from Rajasthan, from Oman, they were bringing copper from. I'll show you here. So this is Harappa. So this is the Rajasthan area, and Oman is a city in the Middle East. I'm not showing it, but so they were bringing it. Tin they were getting it from. Tin is mixed with copper to produce the bronze. So tin is an important material. They are bringing it from Afghanistan, from Iran, Afghanistan. Tin is brought from here. From gold, Karnataka. It's down south we have. You know it where it is. It is brought from Karnataka, and from the precious stone they are bringing it from various other places like the Gujarat. This is Gujarat, Iran, Afghanistan. So they were bringing all precious stone from here. So these are the different khilona, toys being found at that time. What was happening? Now, if people are there, they will have to eat also. So many people were doing. They were living in cities, they were living in villages. So farmers and herders were there. Farmers and herders, they were krishak or pashupalak, farming or herding. So if you see here, they were barley, pulses, peas, rice, sesame, linseed, mustard. They were growing it all. They were all, let me tell you again, barley, pulses, peas, rice, sesame, linseed, mustard. They were growing it. So they were using plow, hull, and it was made of wood, hull. So they were using this plow to turn the soil and planting the seed. We don't have it right now, but because the toys are being found, so we can just anticipate that they were using these hull. And one more thing is, when they were doing this kheti, they were making this hull or plow with lakdi. They were doing irrigation also. If you do farming, you have to do irrigation. So they were sichai, irrigation. So they were storing the water. So we have example of that, right? So they have storage also and irrigating also. And so now coming to farming, we have seen. Now coming to the herding. So what are the animals? What are animals they used to rear? The cattle, gai bhais, sheep, goat, buffalo for milk and meat. So as I said, linseed, this is called alsi. Sesame is til. Mustard is sarson. Okay, if you want to remember it. So they were rearing all these animals in the summer months, because these area it's water scarce. So they were taking all them to the distant places. They were hunting wild animals like antelopes, like barasinga, deer, etc. Now I'm going to take you to two different cities. It was so beautifully made cities. One is Dholavira and other is Lothal. So Dholavira and Lothal. Dholavira is located on Khadir Bed. So this is, Run of Kutch. Here is Run of Kutch. I'm showing you Run of Kutch. So this is Dholavira I'm talking about. This is Dholavira, Run of Kutch. This is called Run of Kutch. Here Khadir Bed is there. Khadir Bed. And this is a place where fresh water was there and fertile land was there. Urvarak and good water. So Dholavira the city is divided into three parts. All these three parts, they were surrounded with big massive walls like this. These three part. And they have proper pravesh dwar, gateways. All these three have gateways, bade gateways. And there was a open area, maybe used for some public ceremonies, sarvajanik kaam ke liye. And there are other things which we don't find in other cities. Mohore seals, we don't find in the Harappan cities. Important thing which we found here, we found important letters, large letters, maybe A, B, C, D. At that time, I don't know how to write, but letters, and that was carved out from white stone, and there was inlaid, inscripted on on wood, lakdi pe. So now I'm taking you to the Lothal. Lothal is just beside the Sabarmati tributary at Gulf of Khambat. This is Gulf of Khambat. So Lothal is at the side of tributary of Sabarmati. So this is, we found stone, we found shell, we found metal, all these places, the things we have found. And this is the Dholavira and this is the Lothal. This is, above is Dholavira and the below is Lothal. So we have found different seals also. Seals. What is Moharbandi? What are the... So whenever they were taking the stuff from one place to another, so they would put a seal on this wet clay, and if this seal is intact, that means the saman, the stuff is intact. So we have found the beads, we have found the stones, we have half made beads. So the karigari, the people were good making it. And how does this mystery of the end take place? Why this civilization collapsed? We are not sure. Clearly, we are not sure. We can only make guesses, reasons. It was assumed that 3,900 years ago, different people have different thoughts. Around 4,000 years ago, you can imagine. So what happened? Here we have the seals and sailings. They were not, and weights were not being used. They were not using it now. The raw materials coming from different lands were not coming. The Mohenjo-daro, all the streets were piled up with gandagi, garbage, waste. The garbage was there all over Mohenjo-daro. The drainage system, which are impressive, were just broken down. Right? The houses which were built, no. There was not small houses, not very impressive, were made. So these shows the end, decay of this civilization. So we are not sure. Some people say rivers were dried up. Some says the deforestation was there. If you remove the forest, how are you going to survive? And the overgrazing by cattle, sheep, goat. It was so much of grazing, they destroyed the green cover. So because of various reasons, the floods, baad aa gayi. But floods, all the cities, one or two cities will be destroyed. How about destroying all the cities? So this is still under discussion. And the thing which was more predominant is the rulers, they lost control. And sites in Sindh and West Punjab, they were completely abandoned. So people moved. They started making their houses settlement in the east and the south of that Pakistan region. So after that, 1400 years ago, new cities were being made. We'll talk about that later in discussions. But I'll tell you one more thing. One of the 7 wonders of the world at that time, around 5,000 years ago, I'm talking about Egypt. Very nice, very beautiful place. And they were making, at that time, the rulers, emperors, they were making pyramids. These are the special sculptures. If somebody dies, they will make it as mummy. That is, they will put some paste on it, cover them. Even they would put some food, drink, clothes, ornaments, utensils, musical instrument, weapon, animal. Even the men and women who were serving, they were buried with them. Okay? So they were actually thinking of the afterlife, and they are taking them as sacred. So 5,000 years back, these big buildings, sculptures or formations have been made. So they gold, silver, timber, precious stones, they have made tombs, big pyramids, and people used to go there, and this is one of the 7 wonders of the world. So this is all about this topic. Thank you so much and take care of yourself.